All right, Shannon, your reaction to this?
Skip, I don't really think there's any merit to this. It seems to me that this lawsuit came after Rich Paul filed a grievance with the Players Association saying that Nerlens Noel owes him compensation for the contract that he negotiated with the Knicks last year. My thing is, okay, it says that Happy Waters was his agent when he turned that money down. He said Rich advised him. Rich is not your agent. Why are you listening to someone that's not your agent? Another thing, okay, Rich became your agent in, I think, late 2017.
Yes.
2018, 2019, 2020, nothing.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Rich Paul says, I want my money for the compensation, I want my commission for the contract that I negotiated with the Knicks, and now all of a sudden this lawsuit.
Yep.
Skip, this is what I find is very ironic also. We still don't know who Dennis Schroeder's agent is. Dennis Schroeder turned down 4 years, $84 million. We don't know who the agent is. Nerlens Noel's turned down this money. Rich Paul isn't his agent. Now Rich Paul's name is getting drugged through the mud for something somebody else did because it's Rich Paul. Also, Nerlens Noel, when you turned that deal down and you took a 1-year deal, did you tell the people what happened after that? Oh yeah, I got hurt.
You did.
You're not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can get hurt and get a max deal.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard can get hurt and get a max deal.
Yep.
You're not it. And I want to know the agent that's ever told Nerlens Noel, you're a $100 million player. Bruh, you got an injury history. You remember how you fell in the draft because of why, Skip? He tore his ACL in college. If I have an injury history, I'm not leaving any money. I'm taking that money. Why would I roll the dice knowing my history? Plus, also, you know, these teams talk also. Does he have any other issues? Is there anything else? Meeting time, late, the way you conduct yourself, the way you do things. I just find it just very ironic is that all of a sudden now, 4 years, Rich Paul has been his agent, Skip, since late 2017 up until now, and no lawsuit was filed. All of a sudden, Rich files a grievance against him to get
filed a grievance. You owe me $200,000. Not $58 million.
Right.
You owe me $200,000.
It wasn't until the man said, I want my money. You said, well, I'm filing against you because you cost me $58 million. If he cost you $58 million in 2021, he cost you that in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. It wasn't until that man requested his money.
Yep.
So I don't think he has legs to stand on because Rich Paul wasn't his agent. But here's the kicker, Skip. The agent works at the behest of the player. I had a contract, Skip, in 1992. Me and my agent, we going back and forth. The Olympics going on, so I wasn't in no hurry to go to training camp, Skip. I would have watched the Olympics in Barcelona. Now, the agent says, well, Shannon, this is what I think we can get. I told him, I said, now, look, if they go 15 more thousand, because, Skip, I had gotten more money. I was making 73,000. They was already up over 200,000. I said, if they go 15 more thousand, I'm going. He's like, well, Shannon, I think we can get him up over to 100. It's okay. He told me the number for the 2 years, Skip. I show up, because they already got my stuff in my locker. Skip, I show up the next day in training camp, ready to practice. They said, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting ready to practice. They said, Shannon, you haven't signed the contract yet. You can't practice until you sign the contract. I don't care what that agent said. You work for me. I showed up. The agent worked for you, Nerlens Noel. You turned that down. Ain't no agent did that. You.
Look, we have all gotten bad advice from previous agents that have cost us, that did cost us money at that point in our careers. I know what it feels like.
I do too, because I fired one.
Okay, there you go.
But I still had to pay him for the year that he negotiated the contract.
That happens too.
Skip, I just can't say, well, since I fired you, I'm gonna stop paying you.
I have done similarly. So I'm no legal eagle. I don't know exactly what will fly and what won't in court, but I'm with you. My gut feeling is this will not stand up in court. Just to be clear about this, Nerlens Noel says that he met Rich Paul at a birthday party for Ben Simmons out here in L.A.
Correct.
While he was in the process of thinking about what had been offered to him from the Dallas Mavericks, which was 4 years and $70 million. That's almost $18 million a year. That's a pretty good deal, right?
Yes.
And he claims in the lawsuit that Rich's advice was, no, you're worth more than that. So you need to just go ahead and accept the 1 year sort of qualifying offer so you can get through 1 year at, what was it, $4.1 million.
Who would do that?
Okay, well, that's what he says Rich advised him to do, and I have no idea because that's one man's word versus another man's word, right? And he says that's what that was the strategy that Rich advised him to take, and then he went ahead and signed with Rich at some point in that process.
Right.
And you know the rest of the story. He hurts his thumb, he misses 42 games, and he hits rock bottom. And it's a sad story. He Schroedered himself.
Yes.
Basically what happened. How much of that is Rich's fault? I don't know. Here's the problem that Rich and LeBron have faced from the very start. The deeper issue here, the subtext of all this, is the appearance, just the appearance of conflict, of impropriety, because also in the lawsuit, he is suggesting, is Nerlens Noel, that he says that he later learned that representatives from the Houston Rockets and Los Angeles Clippers wanted to discuss opportunities with Rich Paul, but they could not make contact with him during this free agent process. Okay, so then you leap to the conclusion, and I'm leaping here, that because LeBron and Rich are joined at the hip, basically, because LeBron started all this and had to fund it from the start and put Rich on the map. And listen, Rich is really good at what he does. He has proven again and again and again he is really good. He is not just a product of LeBron James because he is his own man. He is making his own way, but he needed a jump start. He needed the seed money from LeBron.
LeBron gave 3 guys opportunities.
Yes.
Rich, Maverick, and Randy. Randy is the chief of staff. He handles LeBron's day-to-day operations.
And Maverick, Maverick is an absolute dynamo on Wall Street and in Hollywood.
Correct.
Okay, so but they had to make it on their own after he opened the doors for all 3 of them. Okay. Got it. So I'm taking nothing away from Rich Paul, but the appearance of conflict is always going to hang over LeBron and Rich because a lot of clutch clients come to the Lakers. So it looks like, well, is Rich just sending them to help LeBron? And was he not returning the calls of the Rockets and Clippers in the Western Conference to protect LeBron from Nerlens?
I don't think
that suggests that LeBron was afraid of Nerlens Noel. That's probably a stretch.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it.
But Skip, what agent would tell a player, you got $17.8 million on the table. We're going to scrap that and go 1 year for less than 5, knowing anything can happen. A rolled ankle, broken leg, ACL, Achilles, thumb, anything can happen. Who does that? Skip, okay, Kevin Durant, one of these top-tier, Joel Embiid, one of these top-tier guys, okay, you want to roll the dice, but that's what you're doing, Skip. You're betting on yourself. But every betting on yourself story is not a success story.
Okay.
And so we saw that with Schroeder. We saw a guy that rolled the dice on himself and rolled snake eyes.
He did.
Okay, Nerlens Noel, bruh, you can't, after someone files a grievance against you, all of a sudden look back. Rich Paul wasn't your agent. Even if he had given you advice, your agent was Happy Waters.
Walters,
excuse me. That's your agent.
Okay. You're right. And at least Nerlens lived to tell about it because he got his deal from the Knicks right now. So it's 3 years, what is it, $27.7 million. It's not that deal that was left on the table.
You're never going to make that up.
At least he's back in business, right?
Because he got 1 year last. I think he signed for 1 year. Last year was 1 year, $10 million. So hence I guess what, 5% of that, whatever the case may be. It was Rich Paul filed a grievance, and then for whatever reason, Nerlens Noel signed his agreement. And he also, I was reading about it, says, well, he only showed preferential treatment to the high-profile client.
That is correct.
Well, welcome to the world of business. What do you think CAA does? What do you think Elite does? What do you think Philip Morris does? Bruh, every agent don't get the same treatment as a Dwayne Johnson or a Tom Cruise or a Denzel or a Samuel Jackson. You think C-list actors and actresses get the same as Scarlett Johansson? Really, you believe that? Or Denzel? That's what you think in Nerlens Noel.
If you want your calls returned quicker, you should have stayed with Happy Walters.
Thank you.
Right?
Skip, That was the whole thing, Skip. When I was coming out, I was a 7th-round draft pick. Man, ain't no agent want no 5% or no $22,000 what I got to sign. They want 5% of $1.7 million.
Yeah.
What Jeff George and what these top-tier guys will sign for. Then when I became somebody, everybody was reaching out. We'd like to represent you. We see you don't have an agent. Nah, I'm going to interview people. I'm going to get somebody. One of the things that turned me off is that when I call somebody, well, he's not available right now. Can he call you back? And I'm only going to do that so many times before I say, don't worry about it, have him call me back. I'm good. I'm moving a different direction. I'll concede. Hey, I still had 2 years left on the contract. I'll pay that out.
Okay. So, in the end, I think neither of us have much sympathy for Nerlens.
No.
In his sort of, it's almost like a countersuit to the grievance, right? But in the end, I do think that LeBron and Rich are going to have to live with what comes across as a bad look, that they're in business together, and that Rich, who's Rich's #1 client by times 1,000?
Yeah.
It's LeBron, right?
Right.
So is he going to protect LeBron? Well, sure he is. Is he going to make sure LeBron gets this player and that player to come to the Sure he is. Why wouldn't he? But there's always going to be the appearance of conflict.
Man, Rich Paul ain't got more clients than CAA.